Very good morning to you. Welcome back in Sunday morning coffee on Past the Wire TV. I am Big Race Jim. You are you. We're back after a couple of weeks off. Um, as always, the excuse is always busy, busy, busy. But we're heating up, um, which is odd to say because down here in Central Texas, it's been pretty cold. Um, got hit with a little bit of an ice storm last weekend, which is why I wasn't able to be on. Um, was threw the hockey skates on and was ice skating around on the street, and I was thinking to myself, it was probably better ice conditions out in front of my house on the road than it was the last couple of winters in upstate New York trying to get a couple of pond hockey games in over the winter. So we had a little fun with it, but it's good to be back with each and every one of you for another episode of Sunday Morning Coffee. As always, brought to you by our good and great partners at Amwager, Shorebet Coffee, Tampa Bay Downs, Spendthrift Farm, Pleasant Acres, the whole group helping us each and every week bring this show to you. So, couple of weird things because of the weather. The Southwest Stakes and the Withers got pushed a week, so we don't have those to talk about. But I do want to talk about the Oaks Prep and the Derby Prep at Gulfstream Park, the Ford Gal and the Holy Bull. And we're already seeing a shakeup with the news that Ted Noffey's not going to make the Derby, which is a bit of a bummer. He was so dominant last year, and we were looking forward to seeing him again in 2026 on the road to the Derby, but that won't happen. Fingers crossed he's able to make it back for the summer at Saratoga. And always try to look at the positives, right? Um, what have we seen the last couple of years with well, I guess Sierra Leone kind of bucked that trend because he won the Breeders' Cup Classic and at three and won the 3-year-old title. But last year, you saw him tree wrap the horse of the year up, 3-year-old horse of the 3-year-old champion, whatever you want to call it. He wrapped that up, as soon as he crossed the wire in the Belmont. So perhaps now with a horse you would figure would and Ted Noffey would take a step from 2 to 3. It'll be a good, I don't know, 9 months, 8, 9 months maybe before we see him back from the Breeders' Cup. So you never know, but you'd think that might make the summer and fall for that 3-year-old division a little interesting, especially if somebody emerges, perhaps somebody like Nearly who emerged yesterday in the Holy Bull. But let's take a look at the Ford Gal first. Um, and I'm not sure that this race is going to be much of an indicator for the Kentucky Oaks. Maybe, but I'm not was not terribly impressed with this race. But you did see who was that? The three had an absolute disastrous start. Um, so that was a bummer. But what I really liked about this race was Irad Ortiz, right? You see him, in second, third, right there in between horses in this aerial view on the 6. And coming up here, he's going to lose some position, right? Like, look, he drops back, and I don't know if maybe he was going to get a little pinched. Didn't want to accelerate on time girl through that hole to secure that position. So drop back, right? And look, already on Holland Drive on the outside, they're all in on there. The four mythical you knew was cooked at the top of the stretch. Um, the eight looked pretty good, Imperatrice, but look, Irad again just shakes the reins, beat the five to that spot, and just kicked on. Um, I just thought that was a super intelligent ride by Irad Ortiz. He knew he had the horse. He knew where he wanted to be, which was clearly on the outside because, like in every race that happens in North America, the rail always the rail always opens up, and he wanted no part of the inside, and he wanted to be outside. He was able to get outside, beat the five to that spot, and motor on home. And I just thought that that was a super impressive ride by um, by Irad Ortiz in the forward gal. Now, as we move forward, it'll be interesting to see how this horse stretches out. Right, this was only 7 furlongs. The Oaks is a mile and an eighth, so 2 additional furlongs that she's going to have to go. You would think from there, like based on the way that race was run, like the horse was not deterred by the fact that um, she lost some ground um, there going around the far turn. So that at least is promising. That at least is promising. Trying to see the um, pedigree. Let's see. Not this time. So yeah, you'd figure a stretch out in distance might be well within that um, well within that capability. So we'll see. Mythical had a lot of hype going into this race. Um, perhaps too fast early for her. Wasn't super impressed, if I'm being honest. Um, On time girl, I thought that ride from Irad was just a thing of beauty. So we'll be interested to see where she lands next. I imagine we'll stick on the Oaks Trail and come back in one of the Gulfstream uh, the Gulfstream preps and see if she can punch her ticket in the next month or two. All right, let's look at the Holy Bull. Let's look at the Holy Bull because there was a lot going on in this race, but also a lot not going on in this race. So here we go.
And runners away in the Holy Bull Stakes.
Decent break
The
for
favorite Bull
everybody.
lasted on the line. On
Um,
the outside, it's Fearless. On
5
the
and
inside,
and
Cannoneer.
7.
And these two finish wide in the
Curious
third
again
quarter.
as to
The
why they
Cannoneers at
went
the
like
tempo.
super wide,
On the
but
outside,
maybe
nearly is a
it
close
seemed
second.
like
Farther out from
nobody
home,
really wanted to
Contender.
be on the
Six lengths on
inside.
the inside and got run from between
Nobody
horses
really
and
wanted to
Global
be on the
Aviator.
inside
And
yesterday, and
way
perhaps
back
that's why
early,
Incredible ran
Project
so
Ace
poorly.
can't keep up with the
Um,
speed of Cannoneer, who
I
rolls
don't know.
past the opening
I don't
quarter.
know,
Cannoneer leads, but only
but
narrowly, nearly
these
over the
two,
last 4
Cannoneer
quarters.
and
Bull Stud in
Nearly,
second for Incredible
rocketed
in
out of
third,
there. And
124.
Cannoneer, your three to
Tomorrow is
two
in hand
favorite,
third for
I think
Gastineau.
just
Wants to be
lost
in
the
number
race
2.
in the
Oh, 1
first
3
quarter
lengths
mile.
behind. 2 back,
Um,
Special Aviator. Jaime
you
Torres
know,
allows
you
Incredible to settle off the speed. He's about 7 lengths off the
were
pace leader.
going
And as
way
well
too
for Project
fast.
Ace, who's last of the 6. And the battle
But at the
rages on
same
to the near finish
time,
line. And with the half mile, it's
Nearly was
6:45 and
right
4.
up
On the
there
outside,
with
nearly
him
on the
the
inside,
entire
Gastineau.
time, and that
Gastineau from
horse
the
was
bell.
was
Third
able
is
to
Bravado, 2.5 to go.
um,
Then Global
was able
Aviator.
to motor
6:55
on
on Incredible.
and continue to power home. Right, so Cannoneer kind of bows out here. Bravaro, I thought, I thought maybe he would be in the mix here, just because they were going so fast early. But John Velasquez and Nearly, had the jump off the turn, obviously, and was able to even pull away a little bit. Did not come back to this field. Did not come back to this field at all, and still posted a relatively decent time. You would think that maybe that last quarter mile or so would have been pretty slow. However, it wasn't. What were those times? Let's just pause it here. Yeah, 7 seconds, a little over 7 seconds for that final 16th. I mean, I guess the going 3/4 in 110 and then a mile in 137, you're looking at 27 seconds, which I guess is kind of slow, all things considered. So I'll be interested to see what the late pace rankings come back on this, because not tremendously fast now that I look at the timing splits of the race, but still super impressive that Nearly was able to be right up on the pace, be wide, very wide into that first turn, and be able to still put some distance into some horses, and win it like that. So I saw some people saying that perhaps this is the Derby leader now, and we'll see. We've got the Withers coming up on the 6th, rescheduled. We got the Southwest coming up on the 6th, rescheduled. So I'm interested to see those two run. Those two races run. The Southwest looked like a much better field, in my opinion, than the Withers, but we'll see how those two races shake out. But impressive that Nearly was able to be up on the lead and sustain those fractions, although they did come home a little bit slowly. So as we motor on here, we're going to take a quick timeout. We'll hear from our sponsors, and then we will be back, and I'm going to talk about a couple of new things that we've got going on at Past the Wire that I think you will be excited to hear about.
Sired by Uncle Mo, Kings Barnes was chosen for greatness, built like an empire. He dominated the Louisiana Derby and achieved a defining victory in the Grade 1 Stephen Foster, Kings Barnes.
I like Kings Barnes. Really great horse. And I say that because I cashed a pretty big pick 5 ticket when he won the Louisiana Derby. So shout out Kings Barnes. All right. So the last couple of weeks and months, been talking about pace points, and the work that myself, John, and Eddie C have put into that product, and it is evolving. If you're a Tracking Trips member, um, you've probably seen our CHR, our comprehensive handicapping report that we've been putting out exclusive to Tracking Trips members for the last couple of weeks. We've been doing the big stakes races, the big Derby and Oaks preps for everybody that's a Tracking Trips member, and the results yesterday were were pretty darn good. 3 winners in 7 races. It was a little chalky, but sometimes when you identify the chalk as being a viable win candidate, you have to be in the mix there, and our reports have been doing just that. And it is neat when you have 3 really solid, I think, for myself at least. I know John and Eddie C are solid handicappers. I think I'm a solid handicapper as well. But when we're putting the 3 of our heads together to develop these reports, the results have been pretty positive so far. So if you're not a Tracking Trips member, this would be a really good opportunity to become a Tracking Trips member, so you can get those reports for the next couple of weeks before we start releasing them to the public with some of the final Derby and Oaks preps coming up. So what does that mean for pace points? Pace points is still very much part of that product and that handicapping process that we put in to develop those reports. So if you're a pace points user, if you're wanting to learn more about pace points, the product is just evolving to include a little bit more information, a little bit more analysis, and a couple of additional data points to help you become a more successful and profitable bettor beyond just our early and late pace rankings. So we're excited about that. We've been working hard on this. Gosh, we've been working hard on this for a year and a half now, at least, and it's nice to finally see some positive momentum with where we're at with the product. So Tracking Trips, if you're not involved, get involved. You get an exclusive look at this CHR, the comprehensive handicapping report, on the weekends for the big stakes races for the next couple of weeks before we turn it out to the public. I don't really have any complaints this week. Everything seems to be rolling along. The industry is doing the industry things. And I did see Naira put out something about limiting the CAWs in all pools outside of the win pool, which they limit. They cut CAWs off at 2 minutes now. Every other pool, they're going to cut them off at 1 minute. And it's just a little perception navigating, right? And sure, I think that all makes sense and is good, right? The perception, what's that old saying? Perception is reality, right? So if you've got new people coming to the game and they're seeing these wild fluctuations of odds after they lock in their bet, that can be frustrating and can be a turnoff. So I get why they're doing this, but in my mind, whether that money's in the pool an hour ahead of time or 1 second ahead of time, the money's still going to be in the pool, and the final odds you're going to get are always going to be the final odds you're going to get. So while the industry is navigating that perception piece, I think they're doing what they can to kind of help smooth out that perception of late odds changes and anything nefarious, which I don't think anything nefarious is going on, but for a novice bettor, that can be a hurdle for sure. So I recognize why they're doing it, but I think where they're falling short is the overall education and explanation of the whole thing, right? They're talking to when they put out these press releases, when they make these changes, they're talking to industry people, and we all get it, right? We know why they're doing it. We understand the mechanics of a pari-mutuel pool, because we play in them multiple times a week. But if you're navigating the perception part of this, and the perception, in my view, would be of the novice handicapper and horse player that is coming to the game for the first couple times and seeing this, I think you need to also explain how a pari-mutuel pool works and the mechanics of it, because I feel like I am a pretty common person, right? Pretty normal, pretty normal in many, many ways. And one of the ways is how I handicap and play the races. I'm not waiting to the last minute to put my, $25 or $50 win bet in. I'm not waiting until the horses are loading in the first leg of the pick five to put my, $96 pick five ticket in. I'm putting that in 20 minutes, 15 minutes before the race. If I'm just betting one race after another, I'm not waiting until a minute. Unfortunately, I don't trust the apps enough where I would want to wait to the last possible minute to see what the exacta will pays will be after the money clears the tote system. So I'm not sure. So I feel like that move, that CAW move, is for me, right? And everybody else like me. But at the same time, I'm not taking advantage of it in a way, because I'm not going to wait until the last minute to see where the odds move on an exacta based on the CAW money coming in. Because if they're cut off at a minute, I know they say that the tote updates every 8 to 10 seconds or whatever it is, but even still, right? Even still, I'm not waiting until the horses are loading to put my play in. So while I understand why they're doing it, I just don't know that it is doing anything more than just changing the perception, which is a positive for sure. But I don't know that it's doing anything more that a common player, an average player like myself, would necessarily be taking advantage of in some sort of knowledge way, or excuse me, seeing where the money is to be able to take advantage of that in 30 seconds. So while everybody celebrates the cutting off of CAWs at a certain point, and it's good from a perception standpoint, I don't know that there's any real benefit to the common player cutting it off at 1 minute. The win pool at 2 minutes, I can see like that. I think makes sense. You can take advantage of that. But when you're trying to build an exacta ticket in the app, and you got to punch a bunch of buttons in 30 seconds and get your bet off before the gate opens. That's a little tough. And that said, when there's 1 minute to post, there's really 5 minutes to post. So I guess you do have a little bit more time to look around and see where that money is flowing, and maybe perhaps take advantage of it. But I digress. That's a topic for another day. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Plenty of Oaks and Derby preps coming up. 2 on Friday. Another 2 on Saturday, I think. And we'll be all over it. Remember, Tracking Trips members get that CHR for free included with your monthly subscription. So check that out, and we will catch you next week.
Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be National Treasure.
Has opened up a 5-length advantage. It's a 1-horse race.
National Treasure, the key to quality.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, head into the final Sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.